right. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Rob. So hopefully you guys got a lot of awesome stuff out of that. But now we're going to toss it over to Devin Colley from Denver University and former junior Shark. Devin, thank you very much for coming on. Happy to have you. Go ahead and tell us about your background a little bit and what led you to here.
Yeah, so thanks for having me, guys. I guess I'll come to just start with my career path. I played for the Junior Sharks. I grew up in San Jose, Los Gatos area, and started playing hockey when I was around 5, and then switched to goalie when I was around 8, and started playing for the Junior Sharks and played there. Played at the rink that you guys play at from when I was 5 years old all the way up to 18 AAA. And this couple of years I really struggled, and a couple of years I did well. But I would say it wasn't until my halfway through my 16th year where I really thought maybe I could do something and play after youth. And then my 18th year I signed a tender with Springfield in the North American League. I played there for about a month before being called up to Muskegon in the USHL. And I actually really struggled in Muskegon. So I finished the rest of the year in Muskegon. I think I finished last in both save percentage and goals against average. So not the best year. Next year went back, got cut at training camp, went back down to Springfield, was there for about a month or so, and then was traded to Wenatchee in the BCHL and really worked hard. Had a pretty good year in Wenatchee. Really enjoyed it there. And then that summer after Wenatchee, I really just wanted to work as hard as possible with the goal of getting back into the USHL. And so I worked with stop at goaltending in Boston, got an apartment there, and pretty much just worked as hard as I possibly could all summer long. Went back to a couple USHL camps and stuff, and I did well there, but didn't have much success being a 20-year-old for my last junior year. And it was there that at one of the camps that actually Denver saw me, and they recruited me, and they brought me in as a third string, and I committed there for that summer. My freshman year in college, I played behind Tanner Gillette, who was a previous Richter winner and national championship winner. Next year, during that summer after my freshman year, again, just worked as hard as I possibly could. Went back in for my sophomore year, got an opportunity to start, did really well. Broke a few records for goals against average and save percentage for the University of Denver, which was pretty exciting. That was pretty cool. And then obviously we went all the way to the Frozen Four, getting knocked out in the semifinals, which is disappointing, but still we went pretty far, which is exciting. And then last year, during the summertime, got to go to a few development camps, went to Toronto's camp and Chicago's camp, which were pretty awesome experiences. And then after those camps, went back to Denver for my junior year, ended up being injured, missed about half the season with a broken jaw and a tweaked groin, but then went back and only ended up playing 9 games before the season got cut short. So now I'm here back in quarantine, just kind of trying to make the most of it and being with family and stuff. So it's pretty much my career so far.
Well, Devin, I've got a question for you. What is your game day routine? I mean, I imagine at this point you have established some sort of a routine for the day. Why don't you go ahead and let the kids know?
Yeah, in college it's a little bit set up for you, but for me, we wake up on, if it's a Friday, we'll do a morning skate, and we'll skate from 10 to 11, or however long you want to be out there. And then after that, we'll do a pregame meal with, it's usually chicken, veggies, pasta, some bread, and then I'll get home, and you have 2 or 3 hours before the game just to kind of relax. And for me, I like to sleep no more than an hour. I like to keep naps between around 45 minutes because it keeps you from feeling groggy when you wake up. So I'll just hang out, kind of sit on my phone a little bit, just try to relax, spend time with my girlfriend for a couple hours, then I'll take around 45-minute nap, wake up, drink a bunch of water, and then head to the rink. And once I get to the rink, I change, I get a quick snack in, I do team warm-up, I get stretched out by my trainer, I do some eye visuals. I have these charts where it really helps warm up your eyes. And then after that, I just try to really just get into like a focused kind of mental state. I like to visualize a lot about me making saves, me having success, and telling myself how I'm really excited to play, how awesome of an opportunity it is to be able to play. And I think that's a really big thing, because a lot of us, we feel really nervous when it comes to games. And that nervousness, I think, comes from, being afraid to fail. And I think going into every single game, you can't be afraid to fail. You kind of just have to have the attitude, well, like whatever happens. I did the work, I did the time, I controlled what I could control. And now I'm just going to go out there and have fun and be really excited to play a game.
So, and your game starts like a Friday game, for example, starts at about 7 o'clock, 7 p.m., whatever the local time is, or is it a little earlier, a little later?
What was that? You kind of cut out a little bit.
As far as I'm just kind of leading with a couple of follow-ups here. So your game, like a Friday game, it starts at about 7 p.m. at the local time, right? And so
Yep.
You discussed what you do over an entire day on a game day, all right? And so for the kids that are listening here that are joining us, he just discussed, easily 10 to 12 hours of what he does regularly on a game day to get himself ready to go. It doesn't start when you start to pack your bag. It doesn't start when you get to the rink. It starts that morning, okay? And he goes through, I'm assuming that's 99% accurate every time. It's the same thing, right?
Yep. And I would even say,
yeah.
I would even say preparation starts, that Monday. It starts in practice. It starts with your practice habits. And the thing is that for me, I work as hard as I possibly can every single day, every single practice. So that way, when it comes game time, I'm not nervous about anything, because I know I put in the work. I know I put in the time. I know I'm going to do well based off how I prepared. And then even the night before or the day after, Thursday's practice, when we have a game on Friday, I like to do an ice bath after practice so my legs are feeling fresh tomorrow. I like to have a really healthy meal for dinner. I like to do some sort of pasta, get a lot of carbs in, some sort of chicken or protein, and then some vegetables and stuff. So that way I can get a good night's sleep and I'm feeling really energetic and really good the next day.
So post-game routine too.
Yep.
That's great. That's great. I was hoping that was exactly what we were going to hear.
Yeah, that's amazing. So right there, from somebody who's going up to the big leagues, who's looking to get it to break in there, he's got an entire week that he goes through. He's got stuff pregame, postgame. He starts on Monday. He works for the entire week towards that game on Friday and Saturday. All right. So that's what you guys got to do. Yeah, that's what you guys got to do. All right. So we had a question from Ben Greenlee. He said, Schultze told me you guys started from the basics. What exactly did you change to improve?
Oh, yeah. All right. So growing up, I didn't have a lot of goalie coaching. Like you guys are you guys got like Nick here and stuff like that. I didn't really have much goalie coaching growing up. So I kind of just had to teach myself a lot of things. And when I got to the higher levels, I got exposed for those bad habits that I created without working with the goalie coach. And so after I had really struggled in Muskegon, I went to Wenatchee and then, had a pretty good year, but not a great year. And then I went to, the guys at Stop It, and they just completely redid my entire game from scratch. And I'm telling you, like the first 2 or 3 weeks, I didn't see a single puck. Like one of the drills was they literally went up, I went on the ice, and for 45 minutes, they're like, okay, get in your stance. And I'd be like, all right, so I'd get in a stance. And then they would adjust my glove or be like, you need to be like narrow. Or they adjust my blocker, my stick, and they'd be like, okay, now stand up. They'd be like, okay, now get in your stance again. And they just made it absolutely perfect from like literally scratch. And we did that with butterflies, with T-pushes, with shuffles, all that kind of stuff. So when I say they rebuilt my game from scratch, they started from the absolute basics, made sure everything was great. All my habits were great, and we kind of just built from there.
All right, we have another question from Sebastian. It's not quite hockey. Well, it's hockey related, but it's more e-hockey. Do you want to have him ask it, or should I just ask it?
Yeah, you should just ask it.
All right, I'll ask it. So he asked if do you play NHL 220?
No, I don't. In college, a lot of my teammates love to play video games and stuff, but you know, I stopped playing video games after juniors just for time management reasons and stuff. So no, I don't, unfortunately.
He's got a second half to that.
Yeah, he's got
Also,
a second
how
half,
do you
so-
Oh, yeah, how
balance
do you balance-
school and hockey?
Oh yeah, it all goes back to time management. I mean, you got to plan your schedule, you know, starting that Monday or even that Sunday, because if you don't, you'll really get screwed over. And what you don't want to have happen is, you know, come Friday and Saturday and you got homework or exams that you haven't studied for, and you got a ton of stuff that you know you have to do on Sunday after your games. Your mind's not thinking about hockey. Instead, you're worried and stressed out about the schoolwork you got to do. So I try to get everything done as quickly and as early as possible. Like, I'll do a project 2 weeks in advance if that's possible. But basically going through the week, you're planning everything out too, knowing when you're going to eat, knowing what time you're going to have free time, and then planning out what homework you're going to do during that free time. That's all super, super important.
All right. Very good there. And then from Chris Park, why did you start wanting to play goalie? What made you start
So
wanting to
when
play
I
goalie?
was, I think, I don't know, probably like 7 or so, when I was playing player, we didn't really have goalies yet. So the forwards would take turns playing goalie in the net. And I always really wanted to be picked. And I remember being picked and playing goalie in my player gear. And I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. And I had so much fun. I just really enjoyed stopping the pucks and stuff. And then that summer going in, I played roller hockey every summer, especially being in California. Like, that's huge. Obviously, you guys know. And a team needed a goalie to fill in, and they had goalie pads and stuff. And I was like, yes, like that sounds awesome. So I tried it, absolutely loved it. And then for my 8th birthday, my dad got me my own set of goalie gear, and I kind of just took off from there, and I never even looked back.
Very nice. All right. So from Lebedev here, can you talk a little bit more about eye warm-up exercises?
Yeah. So for me, I train with a vision specialist in Boston when I train in the summertime. So I actually have some charts, but it's a little bit hard to describe, but think of like a big piece of paper, and it has random letters and numbers on each row. And then you have a smaller piece of paper that you can hold that has those same numbers and letters on each row. So I take the big piece of paper and I place it probably like 10 feet away from me, and I put the small piece right in front of me, and I just look at the small piece, look at a letter, and then find that letter on the big piece and just go back and forth, back and forth. And then on top of that, I'll just go like quickly up and down, side to side. I'll do that a lot. And even if you don't have any papers or objects or anything like that, you could look around like I'm looking at my house right now. I see a vase, I see a piano here, so you could just like quickly just move your head back and forth, just really just working on tracking your eyes, that kind of thing. You don't really need any special equipment, just getting your eyes moving around, make sure you're looking at things, focusing in and out of things, changing the direction your eyes are going. That'll all should get it going pretty well.
That was a good thing to mention too, focusing on things, and not your eyes aren't just looking everywhere, not focusing on things. We snap to something, we focus on it, and then back focus. That's how you get your eyes warm. Thank you.
Yep.
So do you watch film on other teams yourself? If so, what do you pay attention to?
Yeah, I do that all the time, and I'll actually take notes during the week. Denver does a pretty good job of going over film, you know, before games and throughout the week. And the biggest things I pay attention to are the other team's power plays and their offensive zone habits. Like, you know, for example, if they have a player that really likes to shoot a certain way or he likes to hang on a certain spot, you know, I'll look for that player. I'll know when he's on the ice. I'll look at what hand he's shooting. For power play and stuff, obviously understanding a team's tendencies, understanding a team's system. So that way, you know, if they like to take a puck from the point, they like to pass it down to the goal line and then pass it right back to a slot or a one-timer, I'm going to know that's going to happen before it happens because I'd already watched it on film and I've watched them do that, you know, 10, 20 times. So knowing that's pretty important. And then also face-off plays. Every single time I look at, you know, what stick each player is on the face-off, I like to look at what stick each player on the point is. And I understand if they're going to have a one-timer off the face-off, or if they like to do, you know, a wing behind where they have a guy, they win it behind and then a wing goes around the circle and shoots it real quick. There's a bunch of different plays, and it becomes very noticeable, especially in college, just understanding that. And it helps really slow the game down because you know what most likely is going to happen before it actually happens. It makes you feel a lot more confident.
Very nice. Good stuff. Next question. We'll change it into what made you want to play hockey?
Ooh, what made me want to play hockey? The way I got into hockey, my mom was a Boy Scout leader, and my older brother was in Boy Scouts, and they actually had a field trip to go to a public ice skating rink, and my mom couldn't leave me at the house because I was really young. I think I was probably like 3 or 4, and so she took me to an ice skating rink for the very first time, and I was just like naturally pretty good at it. And so my parents decided, okay, we have to do something with this. Like he's a natural ice skater kind of thing. So the next year they decided to just enroll me in hockey. And from there, I just kind of fell in love with it on my own. No one in my family had ever played hockey before. It had never been even a topic of discussion, but it's just something that I kind of fell in love with after my parents got me into it and kind of just built a passion for it on my own.
Very nice. Very nice. Did you always want to go to Denver?
Yeah, I remember Denver was actually the only school I had visited. I'd gone there with the Junior Sharks. I think when I was 12, we had a tournament in Denver, and part of the tournament experience or whatever, we got to tour the University of Denver. And I remember thinking how awesome it was. I actually have a picture of the rink from like 8 years ago or something crazy that I still have in my phone because I just thought it was the coolest place ever. And it's a great school. I'm a business major, I'm a finance major, and they're really good business school as well. And on top of that, it's a top program that's closest to home, in my opinion, which is also a huge bonus.
Very nice. So we got a great question here from Billy Durrett. If you could go back to when you were a youth goalie and give that younger you just one piece of advice, what would it be?
I would say everything happens for a reason. I went through a lot of struggles in youth hockey and in juniors, and when those were happening, I remember just thinking, man, like, this is it. This is the end. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm never going to get past these struggles. Like, I just got cut or I'm the backup for this really important game. Like, man, this no way I can make it. And I remember just putting so much energy and stress into like thinking like, things weren't going to work out. And in reality, like, you just work hard. You worry about the things you can control and don't worry about the things you can't control, and things are going to work out for you in the long run.
It's really funny, everyone, the fact that Devin wasn't on for the call for what I was just explaining about grit and determination and falling and getting back up. So that's what he had to experience on his own, and that's what I was explaining here. So you hear it straight from him.
His mouth.
Justin, yeah. Justin, did you have a few questions from kids that emailed?
Yeah, I got a couple. Let me pull that one up real quick. Massimo wanted to ask, how old were you when you realized that off-ice training was fundamentally important? Not because the coach said it was, but because you realized it was.
Ooh, that's
a good one.
Honestly, I went to a camp when I think probably 11 or 12 years old. Honestly, I've never really liked off-ice training, but it is extremely important. You have to do it. It's just kind of a grind that you got to get through. But I remember going through a camp in San Jose, a goalie camp, and the off-ice was just like insanely hard. I remember like not even being able to walk the next day, and it just sucked so much. I was like, why does like anyone have to do this? And the guy, I forget his name, but he just explained to me like, the importance of it. Not really for, being really strong. Like, goalie doesn't need to go and bench, 200 pounds or something like that. But he just talked about the importance of injury prevention. And I think that's the biggest part. And if you want to have a long career and you want to play every single game, you need to have really good off-ice habits. Otherwise, your body's literally just going to fall apart. You won't be able to handle that. I think a really good example of that would be my summer going into, I think, my sophomore year. I was on the ice like 2-3 times a day in Boston. I was doing everything I possibly could to just be on the ice all the time because I love being on the ice. I was like, this is what's going to make me good. And I worked so hard. And when I got back to Denver for my sophomore season, that was like a record-breaking season for me. But I'd only gotten to play 20 games because I had hurt my hamstring, and then I had hurt my knee. And my body slowly started to fall apart because I put so much wear and tear on it in the summer, and I wasn't really focused on off-ice. That by the time I got to the season, like, yes, I was really prepared, and yes, I was a great goalie, but my body just slowly fell apart, and I missed, 20 games because of it. So always work on the off ice, even though it may suck sometimes.
I
So
think
that kind of goes into our next question with Kieran Parker's, how he asked, how do you prevent injuries and wear and tear on your body? He just explained it. Off ice training, making sure you're strong, making sure you're flexible, making sure you're not just training on the ice, because that's how you destroy your body. You're putting the same wear and tear over and over. If you go to the off ice, your fundamentals, you work on building your muscles, you put more mobility into your joints, and you're not just slamming down and butterflies every time. That's going to hurt you later on. So that's a great talk for the prevention of injuries and wear and tear on your body. Justin?
I'm going to come back around to a little second part of that question that I asked previously. Said, as far as off ice goes again, how did you find the motivation? What was like a triggering thing for you to be more motivated? Maybe like a step up in the next level or something along those lines. And then at the end of the question, do you have an advice for young goalie, how they can become more motivated, how they can benefit from that?
For me, it actually took, getting injured when I was having such a stellar season to really be like, wow, okay, like now I really need to, motivate. And that took me till, my sophomore year of college. So it's not the best, but you don't want to hit the point where you're having an awesome season and scouts are starting to notice you and you're top of your league or your standings or whatever. And all of a sudden, because you didn't put in the effort on the off ice, your season gets cut short and all of a sudden you lose so many opportunities that could have been there if you had just put that effort in. So I think just understanding that point is huge. And so for me, once I was injured, off ice became one of the most important things. Every single day before practice, I was making sure I was getting a good warm up in. I was going down stretching after practice. I was doing yoga classes in my spare time, on Sundays after games to make sure my body was feeling great and I was taking care of myself. Another thing that goes into the prevention of injuries is also your nutrition. If you're eating like crap, your body is going to slowly start to break down, no matter how you're doing on ice or off ice. You got to, fuel your body with the right stuff and your body will take care of itself as a result.
Thank you.
All right. So is that all we have for questions? Last chance. Anyone get it in there?
Looks like Rob has one. Hold on. I got to mute him. He's muting himself. There you go, Rob.
All right. Actually, I kind of wanted to just add to what he was saying there as far as motivating himself to get better. There's a lot of things that we can do. I mean, as far as the portion that I was talking about, establishing your routine and doing things around the house that need to be done so that you're not just sitting around on the couch all day. Again, just to kind of say it again, when you get into a routine of taking care of things on your own and you feel good from the benefit of doing those things, that good feeling is the motivation. That should be the motivation to get you to continue to do good things and to continue to do the things that you need to do to reach your goals. Whether your goal is to be an NHL goalie or a junior goalie or a college goalie, or even if it's something outside of goaltending, whatever you want to do, you really need to be able to get the passion from yourself to be able to push forward through those difficult times, knowing that what you're trying to accomplish, these are necessary things that you guys have to do. All right.
All right. So, biggest role model in sports that influence how you approach the game?
Ooh, that's kind of a tough one for me. My family isn't much into sports, so I never really grew up with that kind of influence around me. But one of the biggest things that motivated me every single day was when I was younger, I used to watch the movie Miracle before every single practice, and that would just get me fired up, get me going. And I just thought it was so cool, the effort that they put in. And that just kind of instilled a lesson in my brain that if you really put the work in, like nothing's impossible. And that's kind of just what that movie left me. So I probably watched it over 100 times. And I used to do that every single time before practice. And that kind of just really got me going. But as far as one individual or like, I never really had that per se. But as far as goalies I like to watch in the NHL and stuff, I love to watch Bobrovsky. I love to watch Matt Murray. I think my game resembles a lot of that. And I would say to you guys, if you want somebody to model your game after, is watch the NHL as much as you can and find goalies that you think you play like and that are having success, and watch what they do and try to copy what they do and use their tactics into your own game.
Very cool. All right. I think that is pretty much it for the questions that we have here. I want to say thank you to Justin and Rob and Devin for coming on and helping me with this. And thank you, everybody, for coming on and listening to what I have to say. I got most of this stuff from NHL goalie coach. So hopefully you guys will be able to implement it in your own seasons and for your own goaltending, and hopefully we'll all be better goalies because of it. So again, thank you all for coming, and hopefully I'll talk to y'all guys soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.